How do you deal with overwhelming range spam by Chaos? I'm talking about missions like Obelisk or Vox Libertas. Sometimes you get a wave where they have 2 Terminators, several Rubric Marines, and a crap ton of mixed Zangors and Heretic Snipers. And in that situation, you just melt. Rubrics and Terminators are mega oppressive with their teleports. You can't really run away from them, but to deal with them, you need to stop, which means those that are slightly behind them will turn you into cheese because they are mega accurate and shoot very quickly. All right, let me chime in here. So, I think obviously the Heretic Snipers are kind of the worst part about Chaos range spam, especially in Obelisk, especially in the Tomb part, when they are kind of hiding in the shadows and practically the only thing you can see is them locking in on you. And then you dodge and then you have to try to aim at them in the dark. It can be a pain. Disc Shamans. I don't really consider them range spam, to be completely honest. They attack like once every 5 seconds, 10 seconds. Sometimes they just kind of float around. That said, they do a lot of damage. I consider them melee classes, or melee enemies, I guess. They do throw the spears. There's that, but it's not like they have like any sort of like hit scan on you, really. Terminators with the miniguns. Yes, those things can be a pain, and the rockets. Dude, honestly, if you really want to point at the issues with range spam in Chaos, Terminator rockets, 100%, and the snipers spawning like 10 snipers at a time. Yeah, that's where the issue kind of lies, at least for me. Rubric Marines. Rubric Marines actually, I think, are fair. I gotta say, I think Rubric Marines are fair. When it comes to Chaos, it's really just positioning of the Terminators and the snipers for me, personally. Terminator rocket spam can just end runs. It can seriously just end runs. Like, a Terminator can spawn in, especially in Obelisk, because of the, the Chalice. They can spawn outside of the Chalice and spam rockets at you. And even if you get close to them, even though they were recently nerfed, quote unquote, to this is the one thing, this has actually been bothering me so much recently. Going directly into Terminators, expecting them to stop the range spam, because that's how they've been nerfed, is basically if you're within melee distance for Terminators, what should happen is they stop the rocket spam. But what happens is they continue the rocket spam. So Terminator rocket spam, I straight up want them to gut it. I want them to nerf rocket spam with Terminators to the ground, where they only do one set of rockets, and they can't do another set of rockets unless they attack with another a different attack. Like, basically, they throw rockets and then shoot their minigun and then throw rockets. That's the only way they can get another rocket salvo out. Being able to do rocket spam into another rocket spam, no matter how close you are, it's very frustrating to deal with if you don't have something like Unmatched Zeal. Unmatched Zeal, 100% is a great way to counter the amount of aggressive Terminator rocket spam you can run into, because basically you jump into the Terminator fight, right? You jump into the fight, they spam the rockets, and you get hit to pretty lethal damage. Like, let's say you're at like 10 to 20% health, but you still have like 10 to 20% contested health, and then you finish off the Terminator with the execution. You get your contested health back to get back to around like 30% health, and then you also get an extra 30% health from your Unmatched Zeal to put you as close as full health as you can possibly be after a moment like that. Yeah, I can seriously sit here and rant about Terminators. I love fighting Terminators. They are my favorite enemy to fight, but they are also my least favorite enemy to fight. No, seriously, rocket spam on Terminators are annoying me so much. I feel like it's because I've been playing a lot of Vanguard and like Assault recently. I've been trying to get up close and personal, but yeah, it just bugs me so often how many times you can run directly into Terminators and they should stop spamming at you, but they just continue spamming at you. So yeah, Unmatched Zeal. Unmatched Zeal is a good counter to basically get back your health that the Terminators are chipping away from you. there's literally nothing left to do but spam dodge roll and pray to the Emperor. Yeah, spamming dodge roll is also a way you could deal with that. Or pray you don't have an assault on the team and actually have sniper or heavy or better both. Yeah. I'm gonna have to push back a little bit with the assault. The assault's really not as bad as people say they are. It's just people who are playing assault are just figuring out their, damage breakpoints, and you just happen to, team up with an assault who doesn't know they can just one-shot majors. But that said, I completely agree. A sniper and a heavy will make quick work out of the range spam from Chaos. The assault class would be stuck trying to melee them. So basically, the sniper is going to get to the Terminator before the assault will. It is kind of manageable in some cases, but in some areas, like a Grand Lift with minimal cover, or in Tombs of Obelisk, where you are confined to a small area around the Holy Relic, it's pure suffering. Hey, yeah, I mentioned Obelisk as well. Yeah, I feel like these are some valid concerns. The one thing that bugs me, again, was the Terminator rocket spam. It should be adjusted, but they seemingly just, shake off the nerf. Terminators do not care that they've been adjusted. They are going to do what they want. And yeah, I would straight up sniper. The snipers in Obelisk can be seriously annoying. But Rubric Marines I don't have an issue with. I think Rubric Marines are fine. Zangor Enlightened, the Disc Shamans, I think they're fine. Yeah, it's practically just snipers. It's practically just a large handful of snipers hiding in the shadows, and then the Terminators who are also spamming rockets hiding in the shadows. Dodge, use terrain, spam minorous executions because you're invulnerable while you run to it. Oh yeah, that's true. Like, yeah, let's say there's an enemy that's far away from you. Well, at least at least a handful of yards away from you. And yeah, you can just run up, get the execution. You get iframes during that. That's fine. That's still not going to stop the range spam, though. It's a way to protect yourself. Same with terrain. Yeah, fight around corners. Basically, try to use walls to your advantage. I agree with that. And yeah, spam dodge for sure. Deal main damage with ranged weapon. Melee to finish because otherwise you might get outshot in open space. In general, prefer to 1v1 rubrics in closed space. All right, yeah, people don't have that option with the 1v1 situation. I do agree people need to get a habit into shooting enemies that you plan on meleeing or that you plan on parrying and gun striking. That's the best way to really take a, that's the best way to really take a hold of the enemies that are basically playing aggressive towards you, is to just play aggressive towards them back. But it still can be a little bit risky. I do agree that if you are in the open, you're not going to win gunfights against Chaos if, obviously if there's more than one Rubric Marine. Unless you're heavy. Or unless you're sniper, because sniper has the DPS to just, completely take out Rubric Marines. And yes, you do want to use terrain as much as possible, but you don't always have to have that option. However, like I have ran into pillars recently. You guys can probably see in my operations, I do try my best to use walls and other things that can get in the way of their attack. Basically, if you see a pillar, shoot around it until you can't anymore. The thing is, it's still going to be a pain to get into gunfights with Chaos, depending on what you are using for your contested health team perks. Because if you have a bulwark, that can really help you get your contested health back. Heavy has the heavy bolter, and other ways they can get their contested health back. In general, prefer to 1v1 Rubric Marines. Yeah, that's just not going to be a real option. But yeah, I guess just get a habit into shooting enemies and then going into melee them. Unless you're Assault class. Dude, honestly, Vanguards are pretty good against Rubric Marines now because of the way they can do their grapple executions. Is the Assault class really just the one class that has like a major disadvantage against Chaos? I think so. Because yeah, now Vanguards can just grapple into Rubric Marines that are at 33% health and just instant execute them, and then also get a good area of effect damage from that. If you're if you're using the two perks that do that combo. Yeah, I guess so. I mean, tacticals are fine. They could just use their plasma weapons. Dude, yeah, that's rough. That's rough. All right, we're gonna have to discuss you know, some assault buffs soon, man. The game has a limit where only 6 enemies can attack you at once, and the others will stand around. Is this true? is this true? Let me know in the comments if you knew anything about this. For this reason, don't attack the minorists and close in on the majorists. Not only do the minorists eat up those 6 slots with weaker attacks, you can also parry them to recover armor at almost any time. They basically protect you. Yeah, until they start to just hit you with a whole bunch of chip damage. Not only do the minorists eat up those 6 slots with weaker attacks, you can also parry. I don't think this is a reliable way to go about countering range damage, because sometimes you can just get enemies that just walk up to you and don't attack you at all. You can also parry them to recover armor at almost any time. Yeah. You know what? I do kind of agree with that, because they can spam attack you for sure. But like almost any time, as in a sense where it can happen at any time, and not that it happens all the time. You know what I mean? So like they can still run up to you and just look at you. And then it kind of puts me in a weird spot, because sometimes I like to anticipate. So if I see a whole group of enemies like basically charging at me, I just assume one of them's gonna jump at me, right? Sometimes they just don't. So don't attack the minorists and close in on the majorists. This is kind of risky, man. This is like the riskiest advice I've seen. Dude, honestly, there's not really many answers. Sometimes Chaos just have the advantage with ranged attacks. It really depends on positioning for the most part. Enemies can, yeah, that's wild. Let me know in the comments if you know that only 6 enemies can attack you. This sounds like not true. I don't know. Man, I was gonna march in here with confidence, but now I'm second guessing myself, seeing everyone else in this thread. Whatever, if I'm wrong, I need to know it, and I have absolute faith in the sub to let me know when I'm wrong about something. Okay? This is a wild way to start a comment. So against Chaos, I walk in a room and I immediately ignore everything else and prioritize the guardsmen. The major's projectiles are slow, bright, and half the time have an indicator. The foot Zangors are there to farm armor off of, and the disc guys are the sniper's job. Okay. I love how he just like, and those guys I'll leave to the sniper. The guard are squishy, but they punch so far above their weight. And when I go down against Chaos like 4 to 5 times, it's because of the constant chip damage. Oh, they're talking about the snipers. You know what? This guy said, if I'm wrong, I need to know it. I don't think he's wrong. He's putting a lot of faith in the sniper. I'll give him that. But yeah, what his plan is to walk into a room and take out all the snipers first. Yeah, he's right. This is a simple way to basically just cut in half the ranged attacks you are going to get from Chaos. Because consider this. Guardsmen spawn in. There's like 5 guardsmen. Rubric Marines spawn in. There's like 1 or 2. And then the foot Zangors. Yeah, the sword and board Zangors spawn in, and there's like 3 or 4. So we have 5 guardsmen, 2 Rubric Marines, and 4 foot Zangors. If you get rid of all the guardsmen, you are basically cutting down the enemies on the level in half. And then as far as ranged weapons go, you cut off ranged weapons from the Chaos like 70-80%. That's pretty much how aggressive just taking out the guardsmen can really affect the Chaos range spam. So practically, my point is, if you take out all the guardsmen, you should cut their range damage in half at the least. And practically, because we are counting the insane damage those snipers can do. The Neo-Volkite pistol is a great way to get rid of those snipers. Sometimes, just for fun, I just like running at them, and just, you know, that's very, very satisfying. It's super fun to just roll into a guardsman and he just explodes. Yeah, the Neo-Volkite pistol, I mean, even the bolt pistol is good in this situation to take out guardsmen. I can't stress enough how important it is to take out snipers, especially major Tyranid snipers. They're starting to be a little bit annoying, but we're talking about Chaos. Maybe it's different from Lethal Up or with other classes, but at least anecdotally, anecdotally, whatever. For assault, my games have been going way better since I started this. Maybe it's different for lethal up or with other classes, but at least for assault, my games have been going way better since I started this. So this guy's been playing assault. Anecdotally. I'm sorry, guys. All right, for assault, my game's been going way better since I started this. It's to the point where I've started prioritizing grenades because I can throw hands with extremists and majors and get armor off of it. But when there's a las gun on the scene, I want it gone now. Yeah, no, I agree. So this guy's playing assault, and this is his advice, is to basically just take out the guardsmen first. I agree with this. And as assault, you can use a neo-volkite. So that's a great way to take out the guardsmen. In like one fell swoop, you can just be like, you can just zap them. Yeah, this is good advice. This is actually good advice. Anecdotally, I'm sorry guys, I can't say words, man.